Hey guys, Dylan from Noble Records coming at you with another video. A bunch of you have been asking for me to do a room tour and show you my whole setup and everything. So here it is. Over the course of this video, I'm going to show you my turntable, receiver, speakers, reel player, all that stuff. And then I'm going to kind of show you just around my room how my shelves are situated and whatnot. And then I'm going to come back and kind of talk about my components, why I went with those, and the story behind them and all that stuff. So without further ado, check out my room. All right, guys, we'll start off with the bare components of what I have. So this is a Clearaudio concept turntable. This is one that I absolutely love, and in a little bit I'll kind of go into why I chose these components and how I came to own them. So this is a Clearaudio concept, like I said. What kind of makes this special is the cartridge. This is a Concept MC. The MC stands for moving coil. So the moving coil is fancy. Basically, there's a coil inside that cartridge that is basically suspended by a magnetic field. The vibration that comes off the needle is what moves the coil within the magnetic field that sends the signal to the preamp and all that stuff. So that is the very nutshell version of what that means and how that works. I understand it, but it is still a little bit over my head. Also, when I got the Concept MC, the guy I bought them from, basically he was like, "Hey, I forgot to tell you, you're going to need a boost, like a preamp to go into your amp." And I was like, that doesn't make sense. I bought this really nice amp. Why do I also need a preamp? And he said, "Look, dude, this is such a sensitive signal. It needs a boost." So he actually also threw in this black cube. It's a Lehman Audio Statement black cube. It's for MM and MC phono cartridges. It sounds great. Like when I first got it, I was like, I don't need this. And I plugged it into my my phono input on my receiver, and it was so quiet. And I was like, man, I paid all this money for this turntable, and it's so quiet. And then I was like, well, I'll plug it in the boost. Maybe he's right. And then after I plugged in there, it blew my freaking mind. It's amazing. This is a bass that was built specifically for this turntable. This is a crazy story how all this stuff came together, but keep that in mind, the bass. This is a Peachtree Audio Nova 150. There's also a Nova 300 that's more powerful, but this is an excellent amp. You know, it's a newer one. They're assembled in Matthews, North Carolina, where my shop is, which is really cool. These are kind of a higher level amp. You guys can do some research and look them up, but it's a fantastic sounding amp. I know it's kind of sleek and cool, but it's not one of the old-fashioned. I love the old analog receivers that have the wood grain and all that stuff, but over the years having so many of those and always having something go wrong with them, always having to replace something, I got really frustrated with that. So I was able to get this, and it has performed extremely well. Sounds absolutely incredible. I absolutely love it. Here, well, I'll go to my speakers. So these are Monitor Audio Silver 200s, these tower speakers. They're beautiful. Love the wood grain on these. They do have grills somewhere. I don't have them here with me right now. So a set of those. And then on either side, we also have JBL L100s, as you can see on the other side as well. So I'll tell you about the collection that I bought, where I actually got these speakers and the amp. I got these L100s at a yard sale. It was one of my best yard sale finds. They're clean, they're super sweet, and I actually got the original grills. I pulled them up so you guys could see them with them as well. I need to clean them up a little bit, but they're in really good shape. Usually those deteriorate over time, but those are the original grills for them. Almost forgot. This little guy is my Pioneer 707. Really incredible reel player. I've gone through so many reel players. They're so annoying. Everything breaks all the time. I hate them. Most of them. I am not a tape guy, so replacing things drives me nuts. And so I found this. This is a direct drive. So you guys know about turntables. if you got the direct drive, you never have to change the belt. Same concept with this. There's less that can go wrong, which I'm a big fan of. So this thing has not ever given me any trouble. Runs like a top. Love it. It's Pioneer 707. There's also a 909, which is quite nice as well. So now I'll kind of go through my record setup. I cleaned up especially for you guys. So you can, I'm on my best behavior here. All this stuff is my Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab stuff, my audio file pressings and stuff like that. So you got your Ultra Disc 1 steps there. I got this sweet Hendrix, it's facing the wrong way, Axis Bowler's Love there. All these are Mo file pressings. There's some more audio file pressings and stuff right there. All this stuff is like post 2000s newer stuff. This cube over here is just some stuff that I've been listening to. There's some audio file pressings right there. Over here, I'll take you over here. This is my little area of things in transition. So that's either things coming in or going out that I'm putting sleeves on and cleaning and all that stuff. This is an area that I never show. This is a little shelf that I've got of stuff that I still need to go through and process. Some of it's for sale, some of it's not. I'm just kind of working on that stuff. Some of it I've pulled aside for customers that I know are going to want it, and this is my procrastination shelf. Everyone should have one. I don't count that as part of my collection at all. I almost don't even know what most of that stuff is. So, then we'll go over here to my main shelves. So these are my main shelves. Up here we have my reel reels. Some pretty cool reels I've got up here. I never really show them off. But I've got some really dope ones. I've got some from some friends and kind of real stuff. Ooh, this is one of my favorites, this Heated Peach. It's kind of tough to find. I found some at yard sales. This is a really rare reel. There's no listing for it on Discogs. There's no record of it ever being sold. Amazing. Clapton, Hot Butter Soul. Here's a Lightning Hopkins reel. So those are kind of tough to find. This is my first receiver. Kind of have some sentimental value there. My wife's grandfather, who was like a grandfather to me, gave it to me right before he passed away. So I'll always keep that one. It works pretty well still. It's realistic, which is actually, if you're going for a less expensive receiver, a lot of the realistic stuff has a lot of power and they're really good. But you can get them for cheap because they don't say Marantz on them. So this is my main, I would say this is my main shelf right here. So I'll kind of explain what's going on here. My collection's in a little bit of chaos. I've been on this quest to put everything in Discogs so I have an actual record of what I have, which is kind of amazing and overwhelming at the same time. So starting at A, and that's Z down there. All this stuff is alphabetized. So in this stuff you have classic rock, and I had a separate section for psych, but I've decided to merge everything that's rock. So if it's psych rock, or it's prog rock, or it's kraut rock, it's going on this shelf. So that presents a problem because there's no way that's enough space for me, so I'm trying to integrate this shelf as well. So just to run you through, everything from there to about here is Grateful Dead stuff. Pink Floyd goes from about there to there. Led Zeppelin goes from about there to there. So Hendrix goes from about there to there. Got some, oh yeah, there's a bunch more Zeppelin stuff right there too. But anyways, over here, this is what we call the Shelf of Chaos. This is all psych. The top four are all psych. That's blues, that's jazz, a little bit more jazz. That's like grunge. This is just random stuff I found in New York City. And the rest of this stuff is like, I know where everything is, but this is just like a couple months of finds here, a couple months of finds there. Stuff I have not alphabetized and sleeved and all that stuff yet, so I'm working on it. But I need to get all that stuff in order. So I never have everything done like I should. I never get enough time to do it all. I'm so busy all the time, but I'm working on it. So that's kind of my record outfit. Some people might think this is a huge collection. Some people might think, wow, I'm not really that impressed. It's not that much. But I try to keep it high and tight here. Try not to bring too much stuff home. So I try to only bring home records that I really, really, really like and enjoy. So that is my room. Hey, wait a second. Where's my chair? Ah, just where I left it. Now back to the video. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed that. It is 3 a.m. I've been up all night trying to get the room looking better. It kind of gets to be a mess sometimes. But that was my setup, so I'll go ahead and just kind of tell you how the whole setup came to be. So all these are components I've gotten over the past year and a half or so. So started off when I really got into collecting, I bought a Technics turntable, a Technics SLD2. If you've ever been to the shop, that's the listening station turntable. It's the exact one. That served me well for many, many years. For a lot of people, you never would need to go above that level because they're tanks, they work well, and they sound amazing. If you got a good cartridge on them and a good amp, they sound awesome. So that's what I had for the longest time. I came across a really good turntable, which I had up until about a year ago. It's a Linn, Linn turntable. It was a Linn Basic. It's a great turntable. Kind of tough to find. Most of the parts were a little bit difficult to find. It wasn't just something about it was missing. It wasn't amazing. It didn't blow my socks off, but it looked really nice, and so that's why I bought it. And it kind of had a good reputation. But it just wasn't for me. You kind of got to figure out what's for you. And so a couple years ago, a good friend of mine, Drew, if you're watching this, Drew, man, appreciate it so much. He sold me his whole collection, which came with the Peachtree Nova 150 amp. I've got my receiver. It came with that. And it came with a bunch of records. And then it came with the 2 speakers, the Monitor Audio Silver 200. So it came with those, but it had a U-turn turntable. And he was telling me how he had built this system around getting the perfect turntable, and I didn't remember a lot of what he said because, again, I don't know if I've told you this, I'm not a huge audiophile guy. I just know what I really like as far as sound quality. A lot of guys will come in my shop and they'll start talking about gear and my opinion on all this stuff. And I know more about records than I do audio stuff. I know enough to get by. So I'm not a huge audiophile. He was a little bit over my head with some of the stuff he was saying. But he had designed it that way for a specific reason. And he even cut out that wood base I was talking about in the video. So I got those 2. They sound really good, but I really like a good low end. The only complaint I had with that setup with the Peachtree audio amp and those 2 Silver 200s was there wasn't a whole lot of low end. So I got those JBL L100s at a yard sale, believe it or not. Now, L100s are no joke. They are great, great speakers. I love them to death. And I hooked them up to the system, and it really hit the sweet spot of exactly what I was missing, was that a little bit of a low end, you know. Last video I did a room tour before I upgraded my turntable, and a couple people were like, I can't believe you're running the L100s with the Silver 200s. Any audiophile wouldn't do that. I'm not an audiophile. It sounds great to me. That's what I like, so that's what I'm going to do. No regrets. It sounds amazing to me. I get those, that fills in the system really well, but at that point I still had the Linn turntable. About 6 or 7 months ago, a guy who's a friend of the shop decided he did the thing where he was kind of getting out of records, and so he sold me all of his records, and he's like, hey, you want my turntable too? It's kind of an expensive one. And I was like, I'm really not wanting to sell high-end turntables at the shop. A lot can go wrong there, and it's a little over my head, and I'm not really, I'm more records than gear. I do have some gear there, but, I just told him I might not be the guy for it if you want to get a lot of money out of it, because I'm not going to, pay you. Buying a used turntable is like buying a used car. Sometimes you can do good, sometimes not, So, he made me an offer I could not refuse. Again, that's a turntable I would not probably buy new because you're looking at about $3,000. So I wouldn't pop on that brand new. But he cut me a deal on just everything as a whole, the turntable and all the records, and I couldn't say no. So I got it home, told my wife, I was like, listen, I'm gonna plug it in my system, see how it sounds, and then probably just gonna sell it. Here we are, I own it now. So I sold my Lynn turntable and was able to make it make sense. So it's a great turntable. It's phenomenal. When I posted a picture of it on Instagram when I'd gotten it, my friend Drew that I bought the Silver 200s and the amp from, he said, that's the exact turntable I wanted for that system. And so he's like, now it's complete. It's perfect. That's amazing. So I couldn't believe that. I didn't remember that. I didn't know that. So it kind of blew my mind that he had built the system around getting that turntable for it. So it's a great turntable. I absolutely love it. When I'm able to come home and sit down after a long day, the kids are in bed, and put on a record, I cannot honestly imagine it sounding better. Now I know it could sound better. Obviously, there's $100,000 systems, but for me, I'm happy with my system the way it is. I couldn't imagine it being better. So really love my system. That's how I came up with those components. That's why I choose those. People ask me all the time, recommendations for turntables, amps, speakers, all that stuff. I'm not an expert. I do the best I can, but I will tell you this, you get what you pay for a lot of times, and you get out what you put into it. A lot of people want to kind of get, what's a good budget turntable? And a lot of times you're going to have to kick it up a little bit if you want really, really good sound quality. Get in there, try to figure out what's best for you. I've always recommended, if you're going to try to get a decent turntable, good Technics direct drive turntables are always good. Audio Technica LP120 is a great turntable for the money. I think that's great. Get you a decent amp, get you a decent set of speakers, and then after a while you kind of figure out, I want some bigger speakers, I want some more volume. You get to understand the weak parts of your system, and then that's when you upgrade that stuff. It basically, as long as you're happy, if you're happy with a very modest setup that doesn't cost much money, stick with that, But if you want to move up, it's really to each their own, and what you like, and I can't tell you what you're going to like. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I tried to walk you through just my system and components and all that the best I could. Would love to hear what you guys think about it, or if you want to share some of your components in the comments section, would love to see that. Thanks again for watching the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and check out some of my other videos. Also follow us on Instagram. We're always posting when we buy collections and really cool stuff there. If you want to see where we're most active, Instagram is it, so follow us there. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.